I have a thumbs up, y'all. It is, we are Facebook Live for our work session that is in preparation for our last meeting of the Board of Aldermen for the year of 2024. So it's amazing how quickly things go past us. But we've gotten a lot done this year, and we've got one more series of things to do. So I am very glad to have Joe Max in the house. He's going to give us kind of a briefing of what's going on with the link. Besides being always entertaining, he is also very interesting. So, Joe Max, the floor is yours at any time if you would kind of let us know what's up.
Well, I didn't bring a PowerPoint presentation.
That's okay,
I figured that y'all might want to ask questions, play stump the chump, whatever, and be happy to answer any questions you got or tell me your concerns. Something we can work on. So.
Well, we'll give you props for dropping what, 80 pounds? Did you say?
About 60.
About 60.
Trying
So
to
congratulations. I think it should be noted that that kind of work deserves some accolades.
Well,
so
thank you.
Congratulations, because it's hard to do,
It is
particularly around Christmas eating time. So can you give us kind of what projects are?
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll go around the horn. Y'all remember the Flex Steel buildings? Those have been purchased by a company called Altus. They're investors and they lease and they own buildings and lease them back is what they do. And they bought those buildings and we're working with them for tenants. They have what I would tell you is a very promising tenant for the small building. So if you turn on the road, it's the one that's got the dust collectors on it, the one on the left-hand side of the road where you turn. They have done some work on it. They're out there working on them as we speak. I think they've been working with Mr. Kemp's team on transformers and some other stuff that they've got to do. But that project, if it comes to fruition, is a combination of some, what I will call manufacturing subassembly pre and post warehousing. Pretty name brand company, if they come, name brand company, somebody you know, somebody like you'd like to have in your portfolio. On the other building, now they bought all three of those buildings. I'm not even going to talk about the little one. I think they got somebody to go in yet. The one that was the retail store where they sold the couches and stuff. But the bigger building, y'all know about some of that. They're looking at subdividing it. I think y'all been involved in that pickleball project with the permit and all that. They're looking at subdividing that. You've got some folks here locally that are looking for warehouse space, a little bit here, a little bit there, and they're looking how they can demise that. We've got a company, a manufacturing company, that's also interested in part of that demising of that building. They're leaving about 20 or 30,000 feet. We had a call with them 2 weeks ago. They're going to be in January. They want us to get them an engineer and an architect. They're from Asia. They want us to get them an engineer and architect that can walk through the building with us and they can start explaining what they need done so somebody can attach some cost to it. We've continued to show North Star Park.
Before we leave Flex Steel, let me ask you a question. There's some vacant land there. Are they looking at doing anything? Is Altus looking at doing anything with that vacant land?
Yeah, there's Mike, I don't want to speak out of turn, but I think there's 2 4.5 acre lots at the north part of that. If you're looking in the big building, if you're standing at the front door looking out, I think it's 2 4.5 acre lots that's north of the parking lot. Right. And yes, we have entertained some build to suit, some other stuff, some unique projects on that, quite frankly. So we got that. We've got the 100,000 square foot pad at North Star and are showing and talking with people with it about that is next door to Amazon. We're building a 200,000 square foot pad. Y'all should be able to see that. Even if you don't go in the park, you should be able to see that from 82 at the Louisville exit. That's what you're seeing, the dirt being moved. It's about a $2 million project. And then we've got money left over in the governor's grant. We've got a couple of different tax. We've got tentative approval to do a third pad about 175,000 feet, and we've asked them to hold up on that until after the first of the year, until we can get some plans, until we get some answers on some other stuff we got working where we think we might use that money. So, third pad maybe. If we don't do the third pad, there's something else better that we need to use that money for, and we're working on that.
Did we have extra money because we ran under budget on some things?
The budget on the pads were exceedingly good, exceedingly. And I may speak out of turn, but I want to say we had like 8 or 9 bidders, And a lot of them were just loaded up right in there close. And when you ask them, they almost to the man or woman, it was, we're trying to get a job to go through the winter on. You know, we want to keep our people working, Burns got it.
Yeah.
I think there were 9 bidders, and probably there wasn't a nickel's worth of difference in the top 3 or 4. The low bidder didn't give an expedited price, and that was the expedited schedule was adopted, so they actually defaulted and didn't get the project. They didn't give us an expedited price. And the reason we asked for expedited price is, I think I told some of y'all that we were working a project that made housings and shields and cowls for big generators that we really thought had our name all over it. They came, and they was a very, very good company, solid company. Started making plows that mules pull. That's how they started. And have been in business ever since. But when they were at the site visit, we said, we're going to get this pad. We think we can provide you with a site with a 200,000 square foot pad. They needed about 150, so that worked. We said we're going to start in October on the pad. They said we want to start on erecting the steel in October. So we were cut site on the spot. We've got a couple of projects that we're working with MSU that I'm probably not going to give a lot of details about because they're not really my projects. We're just doing technical assistance, and we had about a 3-hour meeting with Jim and the team, Clay and them last week, Chris from Boeing. That I think we've got some opportunities they didn't know we had, some things that we could do that they didn't know, and right at the first year we're getting back together. But it involves some construction and some pretty neat stuff. You know, we had the mayor was there, Edward was there. We had a sewer summit that we put together recently on the east side of town on the try to figure out that's a complicated issue. I think that falls us into us trying to provide some technical assistance and get our friends around the table to talk about issues and problems. I think there's going to be a resolution on some of that stuff. I think there's a good plan on that. That doesn't really create jobs, but it creates opportunity.
Mr. Steve,
Yes, sir.
you expand a little on this sewer summit. I like that.
You like it?
I like it.
Well, the girls in the office called it something else. It starts with an S.
Tell us a little bit.
Yeah, so what we did is, it's a very complex issue. You got a sewer district, you got MSU involved, you got 3 water systems involved, you got the city involved, arguably you got the county involved, and you got some developers out there that are ready to go on some development. Some of it's already started, and we just got issues on capacity and contracts and fees that are due and all that, and we just thought it would be a good idea to get everybody in the room. So we got Cavs, the big amphitheater type room at Cavs to host us, and I'm going to tell y'all, it was pretty much full, was it not? There were a few vacancies, but not many, and I think without exception, I think all the players were there. MSU was there, DEQ was there, and I think there's a hearing coming up on the 6th, I think, of January before a judge. I think that might be the first inciting incident, but I think some things will happen.
Is that between MSU and East Activity?
Yeah. There's money owed, and I think there's what is that? Who's the lawyer? Arbitration or some mediation meeting. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's coming up. I think after that we'll do a reset, and I think we decided, y'all help me remember, mid-February we wanted to get that group back together.
Yes.
And check progress of. All right, everybody had their marching orders. Now come back and tell us what you did, and we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I just think there's some tremendous opportunities in that presentation, and I'll be happy to share it with you. Betsy Young in our office, we call her Betty. She did, and this is pretty cool, she did an employment heat map showing where all the vast majority of the jobs created. Think MSU, think the Golden Triangle, think Columbus Air Force Base. And that area that is out there, between Columbus and Starkville, you can be at most of the major employers in the region in 15, 20 minutes from out there. it's a geographically just a neat place. It's a good centrally located spot. You can be in Starkville, MSU, you can be at the Golden Triangle Park, you could even be at Weyerhaeuser, big mothership down on Carson Road. Columbus Air Force Base is bit of a scope tight because of the lights, and Yokohama a bit of a tight, but 15, 20 minutes most of them. So, and another advantage that we think comes with some of those developments is if and when the new school gets built and it goes where we think it's going to go, geographically that's a good location for that too. We can't get a lot of information on that though, so it's kind of like everybody wants to be quiet. So we're having to kind of wait. I talk about it, and when I talk about it, I'm over here. Everybody just nobody says anything. Like I know, but I can't say.
When you say East Alpena wastewater association, their collection stuff goes all the way to the Lambs County line almost, right? How far it goes way east. So when those people are there and they part of the conversation, you're not just talking about the new annexed area and the part concentrated right in MSUC. You're talking about that part that runs east.
Yes, sir.
Significantly, right?
Yeah, there are about 550 lots that are platted out there. The old Bergen place, the old, it's already a subdivision, it's full, but I think it still has like 400 lots platted. And then there's another piece of property just across from Golden Triangle Drywall that has another 100 to 150 lots. And then there's some land in between those. So you know, pretty neat opportunity, and we just kind of need to figure it out, and maybe we will. A lot of players. It's like everything else. It's just there's so many moving pieces to the puzzle. You can't fix one. You got to fix this one and this one and this one and this one. But I think folks have figured it out, and I think they'll get there. I was pleased that everybody showed up. That was kind of a neat deal.
About the single mega site.
Yes, well, you know, I'm reluctant to come over here and talk to y'all about projects that are just not in Starkville on typical, but Mayor, you're right. We're talking about massively
those people
benefit.
are moving to live here.
Absolutely.
So, yes,
and look, I don't, you know, none of you were at my speech at the Chamber of Commerce luncheon last Friday, but it was a pretty stern speech, I think, is how
you always give
I would classify it. Well, yeah, but you talk about a wake-up call. The last 3 general managers of the facilities that we have located have chosen to live in Oktibbeha County. That has never happened ever in the history since I've been here. Okay, that's significant.
I'm smiling.
One lives at Adenton because he's got horses. Don't be mad. You won't let him have horses in town.
He can have a chicken.
Yeah, he can have chicken.
And goats. He can have one.
But one lives at Browning Creek, and one lives at Saunders's.
Adelaide.
Adelaide. 1, 2, 3, and that's the aluminum mill. That's the pack car, and that's the Bible chart. That's the general managers that live there. But yes, it is of major consequence. And so here's what's going on in that is. Next Thursday, the owner is coming in and we're hand delivering him the letter that says we are buying your property and we are closing on this date. So we are fixing to spend $22 million to buy 1,000 acres of that site. We anticipate that we will get a call from governor's office on some awards for water and sewer right after the first of the year. That's going to be in the neighborhood of about $12 million. And then we're going to be borrowing some more money for the balance of the water and the sewer. We have already had a huge project that looked at us for that. It was not ready. That's why that subdivision, Mr. Beatty, and the school thing over here is so important. It was a 4,000 job facility, a $1.5 billion facility, and there's not enough housing to support that many people coming in.
But see, Job, these house pads old hole because no sewer, right?
Yeah.
And water, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
correct?
water's an issue too, and guys, without retreading that, this is just a very complicated deal. Before y'all ever got in office, rural water's been around since the 60s, since the early 60s, and the reason rural water started was because Bert lives out in the country. His wife's got iron water, their clothes, they know their kids at school ain't got white clothes because they live in the country, and they wanted a clean drink of water. I mean, some of y'all were raised that way, you know. And so the Farmers Home Administration started funding these systems, just really to get people a clean drink of water and wash clothes. And then growth has happened, and not just here, but I participated in your county planning meeting with Briggs and whatever they're called now, the last other name escapes me. Was Briggs and Slaughter, Briggs and Watson.
Slaughter and Associates, and now it's Slaughter and
It
whatever.
was Briggs and Slaughter one time.
Yeah,
In
well,
annexation, was it?
Yeah, well, I met with them they're doing some work for the county, and they had a map of all
Bridge.
the water systems, and they just surround the town. Well, it's not just here, it's everywhere. And, you know, you gotta understand, a lot of those people that serve on those boards, they still did that so they had a clean drink of water. They're not interested in, you know, a new PhD family to move to town that's teaching at state and doing all that. They just want a clean drink of water. And as they do improvements, their bills go up. And as you add sewer, the bills go up. And you know, it's a kind of a mental conflict there of, you know, I may not have the resources to pay a $50 water bill and a $50 sewer bill, or a $50 water and sewer bill. So it's very complicated. But the Cinco mega site, and here's what I will tell y'all, and I'll tell the guys that are writing the check, we can't guarantee any success on this, but we've done 4 of them. We've done 4 of them. At the first one, there's $3 billion worth of investment sitting on that site today, $3 billion. On another one, there's $1 billion. On another one, there's about $500 million. And on another one, there's $2.5 billion being built right now. Now, I don't know if the 5th one will hit, but what I can tell you is we're batting 800 if it doesn't. Okay? But it has got tremendous opportunity. TVA has helped us do some conceptual plans, automotive assembly plants, manufacturing plants. That site is so big, and one version of the plan shows the one building, and it doesn't take up all the property, one building that's the steel mill, the aluminum mill, Yokohama, and Pack Car all under one roof. That big of a building. So, and I've been told by Bill Cork that between Christmas and Thanksgiving, a private jet's landed, and that I have to be at the airport, and that somebody's coming in to look at the whole entire site. So,
I think that's incredible.
we'll see, but we don't buy it till March. All the due diligence is done. TVA is paying for the scoping. This is an example of getting very aggressive. We sat down with TVA and said, when can we get power there? They said 48 months. Well, that won't work. I mean, you understand TVA has been caught with their drawers down. They really got caught behind the 8 ball. And we said, what can we do to expedite that? And we're actually paying $300,000 to scope. That's pre-engineer, design, environmental, all that stuff. So we can tell a company they can get power in 24 months instead of 48. But it's costing us $300,000 to do that. But we're doing that. We're seeing data centers come back. You know, everybody remembers the project that Joey announced. So y'all know, those of you that were here then, that was Project Trinity. You worked that. We all worked that project. That was our project too. That was the one that had one in Starkville, one in West Point, and one at GTR. As it's turned out, there's going to be one in Canton and one in Madison. There's only 2, not 3, but it's the same people, same company, same concept. So we played for that. We hadn't seen any of those since. Now they're all starting to come back. We got 3. And power drives everything. And I will tell you this, Elon Musk has been a game changer on this. I got a call. I went to speak to all the co-ops in North Mississippi not too long ago in Tupelo, and going up there, I got a call from one of the developers, and that does this for Elon. And he said, we're looking at the Golden Triangle. And I said, well, power's an issue. I said, you've got a problem in Memphis. I don't know if you know it, but Elon Musk is building the biggest data center in the country in Memphis, Tennessee right now. And Memphis Light, Gas, and Water hadn't committed to serve them. And he said, well, we're not worried about it because we're going to build our own generation. We're going to build our own generation. I told
these buildings, these big super, they suck electricity, don't they?
Yeah.
In a way that we
Yeah.
can't imagine.
well,
I mean, but I mean, they suck electricity.
well, yeah. Wait for more. So in Memphis, he said we're doing our own. Well, I told Brian, I was out with Brian Clark and others, and I told him, and Chelsea was there. Told him in the parking lot, Brian Clark called the Memphis Light, Gas, and Water guy on the way back and said, my economic developer says that they're going to build their own, that they're going to bring in their own generation. The Memphis Light, Gas, and Water guy said, it's already here, sitting on barges on the river, it's already here. Okay, so we're working one right now, and I said, are we going to be able to get the power? We're working 3, okay? TVA's modeling it, but 2 of them, I'm not going to do what I do in my normal speech because I'm on TV, but it involves that middle digit. They are basically doing that. We are working a project right now that is looking at building a combined cycle power plant. Okay, that's what's at Caledonia. It's not a peaker. That's a steam plant. $500,000 to $1 million a megawatt is what they cost. And these guys are going to be doing 2, 3, 4, 500 megawatts. And they're looking at building combined cycle plants. They figure TVA will get their act together at some point and they'll lease it back to them or sell it to them at some point. But it drives it. And if you don't think it's important for us to figure this out, that we're in this involves national security. Okay, because if we can't fire these AI plants to do these calculations, to do what needs to be done, it's going to be done somewhere else.
Chinese gonna do it.
That ain't all that good.
Trust me.
That ain't all that good. Speaking of the Chinese, we've got another company where we're working that's looking at flex steel and or a greenfield. This job's fun because you learn a lot of stuff. How many of y'all got a Blink camera at your house? Okay, you know the Chinese can look at your stuff. Y'all got security systems around here? Y'all got cameras? Are they closed circuit or are they on the web? Where's your IT guy?
Closed circuit.
Well, that's good. They can't get in there. But do you realize if it's web-based, they can get you stuff, like down to your financials? And we're...
With cell phones,
Same thing.
Yeah.
And so we're working with a company that's looking at Starkville now. And they basically have software that's Taiwanese based. It's not, I know it's Chinese, but it's the same Chinese. That doesn't allow, when you update your firmware and all that, and because the United States government isn't going to have prohibitions against Chinese cameras. You know, right now, the military and the government can't buy Chinese drones.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
that's us. We can't buy Chinese drones for our police.
Yeah, so I think there's going to be some more opportunity to that, but we've got one working, and that's the one that's coming to look at flex steel. It works initially for them, it won't work after that. They're talking about 20,000 units a month building, so it seems to me to be a lot. I don't know. But test, yes, sir.
Big old plants like the aluminum plant, steel, they handle their wastewater on site. What are they doing?
Well,
Where's it go? Or what do they do to the wastewater?
okay, so a combination. They will send their domestic waste and a portion of their processing waste to Lowndes County Industrial Development Authority. On their cooling water, the steel mill say that steel mill uses 3.5 million gallons a day. They've got, and we get their domestic, but their storm water and a lot of their cooling water goes to ponds, cools, and then it's discharged through they have their own NPDES permit. Just like Starkville, Edwards got a permit to discharge to the ditch called National Pollution Discharge Elimination System permit. They have their own NPDES permit, so it's a combination. Sometimes they buy the steel mill has its own wells that they make their own water. We sell them their drinking water and nothing else. They pump it. They've got 3 wells, 1,500 gallon minute wells. They use 3.5 gallons a minute, 3.5 million gallons a day, and they treat all their water. The aluminum mill right now has signed a 3-year contract with us to buy water from us, with it being revisited in 3 years. They've got the approval to sink 2 wells, and they're just trying to decide if they want to purchase water for us at a wholesale rate, or they want to sink their own wells.
Is that a manufacturing process that uses water at the rate that steel mill uses water?
The aluminum mill, yeah, very similar. Very similar. It's not 3.5 million, it's about 2 million gallons a day. About 2 million gallons. Between those two, they're both 5.5 million gallons a day.
That's all what we do here.
Yeah. Yeah, and they've got, and of course, the industrial authority it's set up for that, and they've got 3.5 million gallons of surplus capacity right now. So we try to stay ahead of the hounds. And we've expanded that plant 3 times since I've been here, and we've already got preliminary design on a 4th expansion. Because it takes longer. It takes 36 months from the time the idea pops in your head, you're flushing. 36 months. Nobody will wait that long, so you gotta be ahead.
Any other
I just want
Yeah.
to, everything that you just said, our infrastructure, that's how important it is for us to try to start building out for future need, because once you need it, it is way too late. And I know we're working on that now, and I feel like we're ahead of what we used to be, and, I mean, looking towards the future, but we need to, as much as we can, invest in our infrastructure.
Hold on with what you said, Mayor, I won't say stuff.
I was just letting you, let her finish.
And I would, and I understand that. In DeSoto County, a central waste treatment facility was built. And I don't know if Olive Branch, South, I don't know who all, I know Fernando does, but they send their waste to a central, I assume, from the people I talk to, it works pretty well. And they pay a fee. They do it down in Jackson, but I understand Rankin County, some of those people are going to build their own facility or something, but that's happening. Jackson's collected Rankin County, Pearl, ran that kind of stuff for you, Pearls anyway. But you are industrial, I mean, you're a big picture thinking kind of person. Is that something down the road that the Lance County, Kimball County, industrial complex, all this stuff is in this development you're talking about with residential and everything between here and Columbus? I mean, that's something that we need to be, you think ahead about stuff.
Yeah, it's probably something that ought to be discussing on the table. You know, not dodging your question on that particular issue, but here's what I will tell you. I've been doing this 37 years, and most places don't plan for Plan A, and they which means Plan B is never even really on the table, and Plan C is never envisionized, if that's a word. We all need to be thinking about Plan A, Plan B, Plan C, and that's held up. The DeSoto County deal you're talking about is held up as like a gold standard textbook. This is a primer. Here's how you do it.
Is what is the acronym.
Yeah, here's how you do it. And yeah, probably so, because you know, look, my belief is Starkville's going to continue to grow, but I also know that out on the periphery of Starkville's going to grow. And sometimes you'll annex, and then it'll grow again, and sometimes you'll annex. That's what the books say anyway. But I you know, you're going to continue to grow here, and that should be figured out. And you know, closing, it's been happening on a micro level in a little bit. West of the river in Lowndes County, Prairie Land Water was the Rural Water Association. Well, they got in the sewer business. So I live west of the river. I buy my water from Prairie Land Water Association, and I sell my sewer to Prairie Land Water Association. And they have closed a lot of these little package plants that serve those subdivisions between Columbus and Starkville, and it all goes to a central point. And they contract with the LCIDA to treat it. So it's already happening west of the river to the county line on a micro level, I guess you'd say. But yeah, I think that's something that needs to be discussed.
Where she going thing was, I think, and talking to Mr. Kemp from time to time conversation with him, we're going to reach a point pretty quickly. If all this stuff comes to fruition out east between Starkville and the county line, that kind of thing, I mean, the capacity issue becomes a real issue for us.
Correct.
I mean, and developments around MSU and stuff, and whether they can be permitted, because can we handle it, and that kind of thing without significantly expanding our waste treatment facility, something like that. I mean, so to me, it's not out of the realm. I mean, we should be thinking about. I mean, it may be so expensive and the cost prohibitive for us to put in, you know, for 2 counties to put in an industrial park to have a central wastewater treatment facility. But maybe not. Maybe going forward, it may be our solution or something.
Well, you got to think about it. You know, one of the reasons I ended up in Mississippi is where I used to work. I sat down with my leadership and I said, guys, the deals are changing. The deals that we're working are going to be fewer jobs. The CapEx is going to be way higher. the energy usage is going to be increased substantially, the water usage and the sewer usage. These industries of the future are going to use a lot more than the industry. And what they used as a model, Mr. Beatty, is Emerson Electric was in Paragould my whole life. They came in the 50s. They worked 1,500 people. They used 5 megawatts of power, and they were a minimal water and sewer user. And my general manager of utility said, well, that's what I want. And I said, well, there ain't no more of those. There ain't no 1,500 job, 5 megawatt deals out there anymore. And so you got to be ready. And it's electricity, it's water, it's sewer, it's natural gas, and then telecommunications. I mean, one of the questions that we used to not even field just 10 years ago is long haul fiber. You know, what access do you have to long haul fiber? Data, get it. That's an issue.
Alderman Vaughn?
Question, since you were talking about the phasing that people don't think, what is taking Yokohama so long to start their phase 2 of that business?
You know, they were, Mr. Vaughn, that was the first U.S. plant that they'd ever built, okay? They bought a Mohawk, and you're old enough to remember Mohawk tires. They bought a Mohawk plant in Salem, Virginia that they operated, but they'd never built a even as big as that company is, they'd never built a greenfield site in the U.S. Russia, yes. Asia, yes. Oh, yeah, but not here. I think, to be honest with you, culturally, they had trouble adapting. I think they got some extremely bad advice, okay? We did work keys it's a part of our incentive to provide them a qualified workforce. EMCC and Dr. Patera said, oh, you need to require manufacturing skills class in addition to. Why do you think they said that? Anybody want to guess?
They taught it.
And they get paid for it, okay? And it created a bottleneck. And a lot of people weren't willing to go through a 6-week class, no paid, to get a chance at a job. And they didn't have the ability to throughput a lot of people, and they got behind. They never caught. And people want certainty when they go to work somewhere. Here's what's happening. And the Japanese, when you would talk to them, first of all, if any of y'all, if I'm ever talking to you and y'all do that to me, I may not do something to you in that meeting, but I'd have plans on doing something to you later on. Okay? Seriously. They got bad advice, and they got behind the 8 ball. And they hired bad HR people, and they fired one, and then they fired another one, and then they fired another one. And all of a sudden, they got rid of the Americans and the Japanese folks that were running that plant. They transferred out somewhere else, and they got a different team in. And the team they got there now, they got it going on. And last year we visited them, their turnover was less than 2%. They had the shift work figured out. Everything was going good, and we were starting to have talks about them expanding. But when the aluminum mill came in, some of the same old wounds opened up. Getting my machinists, getting my maintenance people, and it became a struggle again. I would tell you that I would have thought by now we would be talking about phase 2. Right now I will tell you, I don't think phase 2 is on the books yet. And it's a competition. Of all the big major guys, they're the lowest paid. Okay? And so, you know, everybody's ox gets gored. When somebody big new comes in, everybody's ox gets gored. But I will tell you, the dialogue's open with us. We talk to them all the time. And Nick and them run it. They sit by me at football games. I see them at every football game, and we talk. Now we go see them too, but you know, they're less than 1% of their tires fail. They X-ray 100% of their production, and less than 1% fail. That's pretty damn good.
I do have a quick question. The combined cycle plant that you said there was somebody looking to do that. The cool thing that the gray water, that's what Lowndes County over at TVA. Lowndes County sells TVA their gray water. They treat it and sell it back to county clean. What county is that going in by chance? Not Oktibbeha, is it? Yeah, I didn't think so. That'd be a good thing to do.
But that's being looked at.
Yeah, that's a good thing to do.
Because state law prohibits you from pumping water out of the
Yeah.
ground, cooling with it, and throwing it in the
Yep.
ditch. You gotta use it, and the workaround is send your gray water back. And the city of Columbus sends their gray water to Caledonia Combined Cycle. That's exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
And we're looking at, that project's got the same deal. And we're not even gonna crowd up the lines. We're gonna put a pump station and a dedicated force main to the POTW, and we're gonna put a pump station and force main dedicated back up. So we're not even gonna monkey with screwing anybody else's capacity. It's one lane in, one lane out.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to go back for just a brief
Keep
second to your oxes getting gored and people poaching employees
Yeah.
and new industries impacting existing industries. It filters down to us too.
Sure.
So it's something we need to be aware of, that while there's that benefit, it ultimately costs us more to hire good, competent people and keep them, so.
Dominoes, yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank
Anyone
y'all.
else, questions? Thank you for taking your time.
Hold on,
Always
glad to be here. Anytime y'all think of something you need to know, let me know.
Okay.
Appreciate
Thanks
it.
so much.
I'll see you Tuesday.
Yep, absolutely.
Wastewater and water issues.
Okay, guys, roll through the agenda if that works for y'all. We have a set of minutes, Mr. Hesselson and not Joanna, but Lisa, I think are on the same page on that. Are we good? Can we do a consent for those minutes? Okay. I will be making some new employee introductions. I think we have 9 of them, unless that changes between now and Tuesday. And then we'll have a holiday schedule, and I will try to remember to highlight our trash pickup for that holiday schedule. Public hearings, we've got 1/21/1911, which is going to be that piece of property, just for your information, if you haven't looked at it yet, it's the piece of property that is just east of that, of the gas station and just to the south of Lowe's. So that's where Mr. Lee used to live, over there, that piece of property that is.
Where the
always been a little
trailer
bit-
is.
Yeah, a little bit neglected and a little bit hidden and that sort of thing. So we'll be having a public hearing on that one.
Mr. Lee no longer lives there.
He does not. The next item we have under mayor's business is appointing Mark Castleberry as the City of Starkville Link Board appointment. Jerry Toney is the previous appointment, and they let me know recently that his appointment expired in October, so we're a little late taking it up. But Mr. Castleberry has never been a Link Board appointment, even when he was in Columbus or in Lowndes County, and so I think he would be a good business person as a representative for Starkville, so I would appreciate, can we do a consent agenda item on that one? Okay. And then these are the resolutions that Joe Max just said he'd be back for on Tuesday, but we have already approved this. It was unanimous approval, as I recall.
Which one's that?
These are we did the original resolution.
The Highway 12
For
hotel.
the Highway 12 hotel.
We can't revisit that and discuss that?
Can if you want to. These are the resolutions that go with the original approval that we did.
We'll take it off.
Well, it's not on, so it will stay off then, okay? We have community development planning. Daniel, I see you over there. You want to just give us a little brief? This is
Yeah,
a certificate of appropriateness for the
Yeah,
historic
that's for the
preservation.
replacement of a garage that was taken out by a tree that fell. So they built like a new one and built it back bigger and better.
Okay, and there was
that was
nothing.
recommended unanimously.
Yeah, okay, all right. Any consent for that one? Okay. And then a special event request, this is for the Cotton District Arts Festival with city participation. We've been doing it for how many years now? A
Yeah,
lot.
they didn't do it this year because they were in the fall of
Right.
'23
It's a
and they were
timing
moved
thing.
back to the spring. So this
Yeah.
is their first moving back to the spring, and then this will be a standing date. It'll always be that weekend.
And that'll be a good thing for us to highlight as
Yeah.
part of that, so. Consent for that one? Okay. And then under engineering, Cody,
Yes, ma'am.
I'll let you go over these particular items. You've got the low quote for the landscaping management for the trees, and this came from a grant.
Yes, ma'am, this is the PBA grant, it's 100% money, and we have $50,000, so we're gonna try to use the rest of that above that money. So,
Okay, and this will be along,
Then like,
along Lynn Lane?
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
It's
Those that
more-
we ended up having to pull out of the ground or to cut down because they had all got the same kind of tree, all of them got the same disease. And so we ended up losing them all, which was really unfortunate because they had started to look really nice. So anyway, we'll consent for that one? Okay. And then, talk about this camera a little bit, would you, Cody?
I will. This camera is, it's at the intersection of South Montgomery and Lynn Lane. It's been there for a few months under a test case, and it's kind of a vision for what we hope to do with other intersections, but it captures a significant amount of data. It captures, obviously your traffic counts, speeds, it can tell you near misses. It can identify when you have pedestrian vehicle conflict, it can count bicyclists. And so the data is really overwhelming. And so you can also do something where you can set your timings through that. So we have a live feed, we can monitor these at all times. We think there's some opportunity with police to partner on those. So it's really a sophisticated piece of equipment. And the one camera does the entire intersection. So it's a pretty good bang for your buck.
And it will talk to the police. I mean, the police are happy with that type of camera. It gives you what you need, right, Chief?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we're looking at replacing some of our existing cameras with those around town as time goes on and as we find places where we want to have that kind of information. Is that
Yes,
correct?
ma'am. That's right. So any new project as well. So Highway 182, Spring Street, all of the new projects that have signals, we're implementing these as a part of that budget, but we hope to continue to buy these as well from our use tax general fund as the years go by.
Okay, Alderman Bennett?
And this camera allows us to do some things with traffic control, so we don't have to put the mast arm. The mast arms are correct. Yeah, I mean,
It
it's.
replaces all detection,
Yeah.
does the timing. It's kind of a one-size-fits-all. You
Okay,
can't.
thank
Really cool.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, okay, cool. Consent for that one? Okay. And then we have the advertising for ADA improvements, and we've identified locations that we need to make those ADA improvements around town.
These are
Various
related to the
locations.
Street overlay project.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Citizen came to me and said we don't have a ADA parking spot down on Main Street. Is that something?
Sure we did. That we're gonna be improving our ADA access on Main Street with the Main Street project, but we do have 1, 2, 3, 4. We got,
I just had to take
Yeah.
some time to look at it.
yeah. We may have, I mean, they're not as wonderful as they could be, but I think we're gonna be able to manage that through our Main Street project and make them so that they're much easier to deal with.
We've gotten with Mr. McMullen, with Stephen,
Yes.
as the ADA
Yeah.
coordinator, and we've made sure the new plans have the correct amount per block,
Yeah.
they have access, and there are multiple spots.
Yeah,
down
there are 2 in front of the courthouse, and there's 1 in front of Tyler, and then on down the other end, there's 1, 2 there. So,
Rex Theater has got one.
yeah, that's right, there's 1 in front of the Rex.
I told him about that. I knew it was one.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. And we may look, well, depending on how the Main Street project is set up to go, we may look at maybe refreshing some of that striping this year at areas that we haven't touched, so that might be helpful.
That might be helpful.
All right, okay. And then street department to advertise for the skid steer for a reverse auction, so consent for that one, that is in the budget. And then we'll have the claims docket, which we will skip, but the November financials, anything about those financials that we need to know, nothing special? We'll do consent for that one? Okay. HR will have the transition for full-time customer service representative, Regina, and there's nothing, this is just a transition, right? That's all. So she's already there for us, and this would just be for full-time. Okay, consent for that one. And then we need to appoint someone as an interim fire chief. I think those of us who are aware went to the fire department Christmas party. Chief Yarborough announced his last day was the 9th. So starting the 10th, he was on leave, and then after his leave, when he does come back, he's going to take retirement. So we need an interim chief.
Leave it off.
I'm sorry?
Leave it off.
Okay. Then IT, we have, well, I didn't finish what I was saying. So when he comes back, he's going to take retirement, and so that we will need to appoint an interim fire chief for that time period between that and the time we end up getting someone, advertising for someone. So, all right, IT, this is the Homeland Security grant. Okay, reimbursable, 100% reimbursable. So consent for that one.
Consent.
Okay. And then parks, this is a change order from McKee Park improvements. Cody, y'all have been working the McKee Park stuff, anything see Chris, so
It's
anything.
quite a few small things that
Yeah.
have kind of just come up during construction. I can talk about those, or, it's curb and gutter, sidewalk areas that we want to replace, unsuitable material that we found,
Right,
some additional drainage, things like that.
okay, and
Still-
additional 4 days of contract time, is that all it takes?
Well, they
on
wanted
the
more,
reverse?
and we felt like that was a little more appropriate, so.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
all right, Alderman Sisdrum?
So it's still within the contingency that's built into that budget.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I think we've still, I believe we've got around 100 to 150,000 left on that. So we feel good about it.
All right, consent for that one?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then police department, we have license plate readers, and this is 100% reimbursable as well, so we'll do consent for that one. Okay. And then applying for a 100% grant for, what is this, for the digital forensic equipment? Okay, consent for that one?
Consent.
Okay. Then sanitation, we've got a service agreement for our new residential rear loader truck. And,
Yay.
Mr. Smiley has vetted all of that and believes that's gonna be in our best interest. They will come to us to make those maintenance and what, quarterly repair, or not repairs, but quarterly or monthly?
It's some 90-day
90 days?
inspections and also some quarterly changes and filter changes.
Okay, all right, so consent for that one?
Consent.
Okay. And then a repair of the Peterbilt that we just put on the agenda for, because we just needed the repair, so we just found out about it, so.
What's wrong with it?
It actually has some depth problems, for the whole depth system needs to be cleaned out. And it also has a depth line that's actually separated from the tank.
That's the commercial truck.
That's front of it.
Gotcha.
Consent for that one? Okay. And then under utilities, Edward, we've got the usual source of supply. Consent for that one? And then sole source quote for modules for whatever it is for meters.
Yes,
There you are.
ma'am. The board approved a couple of months ago to buy, I believe, 1,400 water modules. Those aren't expected to be delivered until May of '25. We were able to find, I think the number is 320.
336.
Okay, yeah. We're able to find some of those of the, an older version, an older model. So we wanted to go ahead and get those so we can start replacing the ones that have failed.
Okay. Consent for that. Okay. And then last but not least, authorization for the solution for Honeywell to conduct a 4-day on-site training. And this is something that's never been done, right?
This is related to our AMI system.
Yeah.
Probably was done when we first kicked the system off.
Yeah,
With the
that was
personnel.
10 or more years ago.
Yeah, so it's a, kind of just going all the way through that whole system and helping us troubleshoot some of our issues around.
Okay, all right, consent for that one, okay. And then we will have an executive session. Mr. Huskisson will bring us up to date on the pending and potential litigation that we've got. All right, that being said, thank you, everyone. Everybody have a great weekend, and we will